tonight. We got a great group of staff and faculty here with us tonight, and certainly talk about this new cohort and answer any questions that folks have pre-submitted, and really kick this off in a good way. All right, so who is this executive cohort for? We have some description here, and you can find this copy on our website as well. But this program is really designed for the mid-career director level marketer that's in the marketing communications field that is striving to advance their career. And this next slide discusses that in a little more succinct manner. Marketing communications managers and directors ready to level up and advance in their career. And we're looking at senior to mid-career marketers with at least 5 years of progressive marketing experience. And as we go through the session tonight, that experience, where that experience comes into play, will become very apparent. Now, when we're asked, and when I'm asked especially, what separates our program from similar programs, either within WVU or across the globe, the first thing that I point to is our faculty. We pride ourselves on being a practitioner-based faculty body, and having that these folks lead our courses. Nice mix of these practitioners with an academic touch, and the value that they bring to the courses, in their career experiences, good and bad, their day-to-day wins and struggles. They're sharing that with their students, with these topics that they're subject matter experts on, and it really creates a rich learning environment. I'd like to introduce you to some of the folks that are going to be teaching in this executive cohort. Chris Caserta, Britt Davenport, Bill Nevin, Bob Sukes, and Josh Wilson. And you can see a little bit about their titles and their career experience. And I encourage you to go to our website and get a much deeper understanding of their backgrounds and their expertise in these various fields. So what does a week look like in this program, our graduate program? It's challenging and it's accelerated, but the advantage that we offer our students is a consistent deadline schedule. And why is that important? With that consistency in our deadlines from week to week, course to course, students can build a time management regimen. It may take one course, it may take 2 courses or 2 semesters to do so, but once students establish that time management regimen that works for them, they can use it as a blueprint the rest of the way, as they progress through the program. So our weeks start on a Monday. In terms of the discussion board, students are expected to respond to the weekly discussion prompt with a substantial cited response by Wednesday evening at 11:55 p.m. They have then until Friday at 11:55 p.m. Eastern Time to respond to a minimum of 3 of their classmates' posts. And in that Monday to Friday discussion, it's not uncommon for a very lively discussion to have well over 100 different discussion posts in that topic. In terms of writing assignments and projects, those are due, students have a full week to complete them. So we give them the weekend and Monday, and those are due by 11:55 p.m. Eastern Time. And as we'll talk here in a little bit, our courses, especially with this cohort, aren't just based on just writing assignments, regurgitating and researching, but they're going to be hands-on projects that are very applicable to our cohort students' immediate professional background. And just some side notes over here on the left, and you can find some more information on our website about workload and time commitment. but we think that students will spend between 10 to 20 hours a week in this cohort to complete the classwork in depth and correctly. Each week, in addition to these discussions and written assignments, students will go through a weekly module that contains a lesson, that will contain supplemental readings, textbook readings, and some of which are case studies very applicable to the course content. The one thing that separates this cohort, this executive cohort, from our other tracks through our different graduate programs is this idea of you selecting an organization potentially and very probable that's the organization that you work for. So your entire time in the project or in the program, you're working on projects and research that you can turn around and apply to your current position. You know, and we've said in the past, and I think if you have been on our website and seen some of our print material, you'll see the term learn it today, apply it tomorrow. We feel very strongly about that, and we really think the cohort is a really good reflection of that ideology. We always like to stay in touch with our community, and I think you know, when you start digging and looking at our program, you'll kind of get a sense that you know, we're very big on community and very big on you know, networking and connecting with all of the different folks, whether it's current students, prospective students, or graduates in our program. But every 2 years in the fall, we do a survey of our alums. And this year, I want to say that we surveyed almost over 1,900 alums and got a report back. And some of the shining highlights of that report, 56% of our alums stated that our degree helped them increase their salary by more than 25%. So we're always talking about ROI, and that's a really nice statistic. The other thing that's really jumps out is 98% of our alumni said they felt more competitive. They felt more ready with our degree under their belt and taking it out into the workforce. And that's certainly, you know, our number one goal is to prepare our grads to be more competitive and more confident and more successful in the workplace. Now, we don't, you know, we're not out, you know, gloating and bloating and bragging about, but we do like recognition, and it's nice to be recognized both by your peers, but also the industry that you're sending out graduates to serve in the workforce. First and foremost, we are an accredited program by the Higher Learning Commission. And we say that because in certain situations, employers will not provide tuition reimbursement to a non-accredited program. So we always try to make sure that our prospective students know that we are accredited. Several years ago, we won the Online Learning Consortium's Program of the Year. It was a great award. Our assistant dean, Chad Mesra, myself, our dean at the time, Mary Ann Reed, went to Orlando, Florida, accepted award in front of a group of people that represented an online curriculum and programming across the world. So it was really a really high honor to do so. 2 years ago, we received WVU Board of Governors Program of Excellence. So that's a nice internal stamp of achievement and recognition. And then PR News and PR Week, every year we work with them in their awards process and have been recognized by both of those bodies. So we've got your back, and how do we have your back? And this is several ways, and I think this is the second thing, the most important element that separates our programs with other programs is the support that you're going to receive in your time in our program. First and foremost, we have a full-time advising staff. that's going to work with you, whether it be figuring out your time management, figuring out your scheduling, figuring out financial aid, whatever, whether we'll talk about flexibility in a little bit. If something happens at work and you get sent overseas, or your wife's having a baby, or you're having a baby, and you have to shuffle things up, our advising staff can help figure out the path that's best for your time and to complete the degree program. Full-time technical support. We use the Blackboard course management system. It's very intuitive. Our team works very hard to provide a really user-friendly interface. We like students to focus on the learning, the networking, the experience sharing, and the technology sits somewhere in the background. But should students need a tutorial or some help with something, our team is there to help them. In the last couple of years, one of the things that we've been able to provide with to our students is a mentoring program. And in this mentoring program, we're able to draw from our experience in our faculty body, but also in our alums. And it's amazing how many of those folks volunteer to come back and serve as a mentor to our current students, and in some cases our alums. That ties in perfectly to our Integrate conference. It says conferences on the slide, but I'm going to really focus on our on-ground, in-person Integrate conference that happens every year, the first weekend of June. And that is where a lot of these things come to fruition. It's a great opportunity for our mentors to have a cup of coffee and meet face-to-face with their mentees. And it's a great place for a prospective student to come and learn about our program, not from me, not from my colleagues in our program, but from other prospective students, our instructors, program grads, and current students. So we'll talk about Integrate a little bit, but certainly if you have the means to attend that conference, it's very worthwhile. Talk about the curriculum in our program. This cohort is going to complete the cohort, and we'll talk a little bit about the time frame to do so. You're going to complete 10 courses. The nice thing about our program, the first course is an intro course, IMC 610. It's going to give you a wonderful overview of all the key elements and topics that you're going to apply throughout the rest of the term or your time in the program. And it's taught by folks that have also been in your shoes at one time or another. Not only are they professionals, but they're also program grads. So they have a unique understanding of what it's like to be a new graduate student. You'll take 8 other courses, which is a mix of core courses, specialty courses, and electives. And you'll cap it off with the IMC 636, which is the campaigns course. And it's a very rigid course. It's every bit as equivalent to a master's thesis. But at the end of it, our students are going to have something that they can be proud of to demonstrate their knowledge of how IMC works, and a marketing plan that demonstrates that. You can slide that across the desk to a prospective employer, to your current employer, and something to really be proud of. This cohort will have the opportunity to take 15 different electives. I'm not going to read all of these to you. Again, our website has a really in-depth overview of these courses, as well as some comments that past students have made about each of these courses. This is a sample schedule for the executive cohort with the idea that the student starts in fall of 23. and a breakdown of the early fall, the late fall, early spring, late spring, summer, and then early fall and late fall the following year. So our students, if they stick with this plan, when they're able to go straight through, they can get out and complete their master's degree in a little over a year, with that late fall term in their second year being their capstone term. And if you notice, we have that scheduled by itself just so students can focus on that, and kind of speaks volumes to the how rigid that course actually is. So how do you apply and how do you get started? The one aspect that's different with this program is the pre-qualification process and submitting a proposal. The reason we have our students submit a proposal is we want to find out that the company that they work for, that they want to represent in their different courses with these projects and research, it's adequate. Much the same as in our capstone course, where students submit a proposal when they want to choose their own company. We simply want to vet and verify that you'll have all the resources that you need to draw from these different areas of this company to provide you with the background information and knowledge to apply it in these different courses. Other than that, if in terms of the official application process, we have an online graduate application system that once you create your account, you can simply piece these things in and save it and until it's complete. But in that application, you'll include your personal statement, which is why you want to, what you want to gain from our degree program, and what are you going to bring to the table to our program. A copy of your current resume, your official academic transcripts from your last degree program. If you're an international student, we require the TOEFL because it's a very reading and writing intensive program. We want to make sure that your level of the mastery of English is up to acceptable levels. Optional materials. Those of you that cringe at the thought of taking a standardized test will be happy to know that we don't require the GRE or GMAT. At one time we did, and people kind of cringed up and kind of got clenched fists thinking about all those pencils and erasers, but it's optional with our program. But one thing that, even though it's optional, a lot of our applicants include in their application are letters of recommendation. And I would say usually 1 to 3, 2 to 3 letters. These are people that can speak to your academic history, your academic background, and your desire to proceed through our program. We're very transparent. Cost is a huge consideration in any graduate program. We think we have a package that is very competitive with our competitors across the United States and across the world. Right now, on the current fee schedule, our courses are priced at $820 a credit hour, which brings the total cost of each course to $2,460. And the total cost of the master's program would be $24,600. And that changes every year a little bit, one way or the other in July. So the new fee schedule will be posted on our website as soon as it's available from the university. I mentioned community earlier, and if you talk to anybody that's affiliated with our program, they will know that we work very hard to build that sense of community. Obviously, we're all over social media, whether you have a favorite platform, but I think that the one platform that gets the most traction is our LinkedIn group. We have a really strong marketing communication LinkedIn group. We also have a great website where we promote our current students, our alums, our faculty, as well as our incoming prospective students. We like to highlight our people. And finally, if you haven't checked it out yet, I highly encourage you to check out our Marketing Communications Today podcast, hosted by Cindy Greenglass and Ruth Stevens, two folks that are very closely affiliated with our program. They bring in some really high-level speakers, industry professionals, to provide some really great insights. And Ruth and Cindy do a great job at leading those discussions. So much so that a lot of our faculty refer to the podcast material within our curriculum. So it's really useful stuff. That is my portion of this session. And because this is a unique session, we have some guests here, and I'm going to turn it over, I think, to Stephanie, who's going to introduce our guests and talk about some of our pre-submitted questions.
We have Professors Josh Wilson and Bob Sukes here. If you'll take a moment to introduce yourselves, we'll start with Josh.
Hi, everybody. My name is Josh Wilson. I am a professor instructor with the data marketing, digital marketing, and now the executive cohort program. Very excited. I graduated with a data marketing degree from West Virginia in 2018 and shortly joined the faculty. But I am a senior executive over at Whitefish Credit Union in Kalispell, Montana. We're the largest credit union in the state of Montana. In part unique about interesting for the credit union industry is that we work a lot with data research and really targeting with financial data. But the West Virginia program and the marketing program here has allowed me to do a lot of fun, exciting things, which I help translate with our classes. So I'm very excited to be here and answer any questions about the new executive cohort.
All right, and Bob.
Hi, I'm Bob Sukes, and I teach brand equity management, and it's something that I've worked on for 40 years. I spent 21 years at Procter & Gamble in the advertising development department, working on strategy, equity development, equity management, equity maintenance, and I've loved it. I love building brands, and it's what I've been doing for 40 years. My last 20 years, I was in a consulting business and worked with companies all over the country in many different categories. And I'm really excited about this cohort because I spent time, in an organization. And I've spent a lot of time with people in lots of different categories, lots of different companies. And the challenges of brand equity management are exciting to me because I believe that that's a real foundation for the brand, and it's something that I really love to teach, and looking forward to teaching it in this cohort, and also looking forward to answer any questions that folks have. Thanks.
Everyone, I'm Christopher Caserta. I am also an IMC graduate of this program back in 2010. I have been working in healthcare strategy and marketing for about 23 years. I worked for some regional health systems, some national health systems. I've also worked for some other companies within healthcare. Done a lot of things within that marketing / strategy / business development world. I've now found the world of consulting, but I'm definitely a part of this program as well, and proud to be a part of it because I think it's really, as Bill and I will get into in a moment, I think the timing is good as far as having the marketing leaders within organizations and the comprehensive knowledge that you need so you can lead a type of marketing department within an organization. So I think the timing is really good for that because organizations are looking for these types of leaders.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bill Nevin. Chad mentioned this being the 20th anniversary, if you will, of the IMC program. And I made a great decision back in 2003 to sign up and be part of the first cohort of students shortly after the university approved the IMC program here at WVU. And I've been really blessed to be part of it since its inception as a student, then a graduate, an alum. And then I've been part of the faculty since 2007. And I've specifically, since that time, taught IMC 610, which will be the first course that you will take in this cohort. IMC 610 is an introductory course, and I think the value of having someone who's been through that course, who for the first time really was taking an online course, is really important, because oftentimes there's some hand-holding that needs to be involved. For the first few weeks, it's really just kind of figuring out my schedule. And so I understand what you're going through. And so I can really relate to it. I'm personally invested in this program. It's been part of my life for 20 years, and I want to see you succeed. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity for you to take the next step in your marketing communications career.
So how do you, as instructors in the cohort, plan to help students ascend into that VP or executive role? We can keep the orders with Josh first.
No, that's great. It's a great question too, because teaching the marketing research and analytics class, the goal with that is, my side, to show marketing attribution. Marketers have to work with the constraints of budgets, of talent, but mostly of showing that the results translate to revenue towards the organization. And the audience for that information and how you do research and how you do analytics and how you eventually report that is senior executives, mostly who don't have a marketing background themselves. So the communication style to which you need to present how marketing is effective for your organization has to be concise, has to be in a way that's written to be understood. And when we look at assignments, and especially the assignments as I grade them, I'm not looking for students to write in a very long prose that is overly academic, but to research it to get to the point and to really show that there's comprehension and knowledge. So that way you can talk to your CFO and talk in a way that's going to show there's a return on their investment for marketing. And that to me is a critical component of saying the classes themselves are geared towards those who are executives, want to be executives, but also to communicate with other stakeholders, your boards, your other senior teams that can effectively advocate for marketing.
I focus on, in my consulting business, I always called my programs Marketing Made Practical. And what I really focus on is the practical aspects that you learn in this program, and actually being able to apply what you're learning on a daily basis on your business. And I think that the tools that we provide allow you to do that, and they're practical tools that you'll use in business, use for your company, on your brands. And I've always approached the program that way. In brand equity management, which I teach, I focus on the things that you need to do on a daily basis to create equity, to maintain equity, to protect equity, to manage and measure equity. And if you have that and you learn those aspects of brand equity, and you can apply them on a daily basis on your business. And many of my students that I've had in these classes are working in companies, and have found that these tools that we provide have really helped them in their business. And that's really my focus, is to teach you how to apply what you learn in a real practical way on your business that makes a difference. And you become very knowledgeable and really an expert on brand equity. So, and I always say that, you know, if you nail what you learn in this course, it gives you a great foundation for whatever you do in brand management, or developing a brand and working on a brand. So it's all about, you know, what you can take and use practically in your business. I think that's the strength of this program, not just in my class, and I've taught other classes, and I actually graduated from this program, and it helped me tremendously as I was working on my own business and building an equity in my own business. So it helped me tremendously. And I really work at it from this is a graduate program. It's an academic program, but it's also a program that'll give you tools and skills that you will learn to be able to develop your own brands and develop yourself as a manager. I think that's a really important part.
Why should someone consider doing the executive cohort over the general IMC Masters of Science?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Stephanie. With West Virginia offering multiple programs within there, there's lots of different options. You have specialization in the digital and the data program, and then you see the difference between the executive cohort and the integrated marketing and communications, the other standard IMC program. A lot of times students will come with a very diverse backgrounds and experience. We have some students that come right out of their undergraduate with no working marketing experience, and we have others who are more seasoned executives who come in with an already strong working knowledge of marketing communications. And through that, there's demand, and that demand really is a focus on their craft or specialization. They want to focus on that business, and they want to realize value. A lot of times the students are getting reimbursed from their class. And as Rick said, you know, even if you're not, there's a tremendous amount of value. I wasn't for my own company, but I found that tremendous value after graduating with it. And how I was able to do my assignments during a lot of those courses is to say, how can I make this relatable to my own industry, in the financial services industry? And I did that focus with different discussion posts that we had, the different weekly assignments, and from course over course. In that feedback we received from many other students in my similar situation who had that experience, who needed that degree, but also wanted to further education, there was that desire to focus on their company and their brand. And I think this helps answer that question for those, and also to be around fellow students who have a very similar focus. The discussions, I think, are going to be very different, which is exciting, and it presents a really new and unique opportunity, you know, for the 20 executive students who want to be part of this program.
Yes, I want to build on what Josh said. I think that the strength of this program is that you're being taught by practitioners, people who have done the work. In this cohort, you'll be working with people like yourself who are actually practitioners, working practitioners in the business. And Josh talked about the discussions. I think that the discussions will be very lively because of what each student will bring based on their experience. Because they'll be working on actual businesses. They have worked on business. They have a lot to offer in terms of knowledge, experience, and it'll be a whole different dynamic. I think the discussions are going to be very lively because of that. And really, the discussions for me, I think, is where you get the bulk of your learning, because you have to think on your feet. You have to bring added value into the discussion. You're doing additional research. You're doing research about other students' businesses. So you're going to learn. It's going to broaden your own experience and be able to apply what other people have learned and have experienced, what they did well, what they didn't do well. And I think that that's going to be a big difference in terms of the learning that goes on, because I learn as much as the students do. when in these discussions, because there's a lot of experience that people have and bring into the discussion, into the conversation, that actually enhances the learning that we get. As Josh said, some people come right out of undergrad into the program. That's not going to be the case in the cohort here. It's going to be people who have been working on a day-to-day basis in marketing communications. So I think that makes a big difference in terms of the value that you'll get in the program, in the discussions, on a weekly basis.
As Chad pointed out, I think this really is designed for those folks who do have experience already in marketing and communications, and they're really looking to take that next step up in terms of leadership and managing their department, or being an assistant manager, if you will, but having some leadership responsibility. And so I think what might be a little bit different than the traditional IMC program is that you're going to be in the cohort with people that are of very similar backgrounds. They have probably similar experience looking to make that step up. Whereas in the traditional program, you might have someone with very little practical experience to someone who may have 15 to 20 years of marketing experience and just is going back now to get their master's degree. So I think you're going to really be able to learn from each other. You're going to be in a similar situation. So I think that's kind of what maybe sets it apart.
I think something else, Bill, is I know these students will have the opportunity to maybe work with their current companies. And it's, and I think it's also a selling point for your current employers to say, hey, I'm serious about my career path, where I'm going. And we're going to be able to kind of tailor their learnings with their current organization and help write a strategic marketing plan at the end of the day with that organization, with everything they're going to learn from the introductory course to audience behavior, kind of like what I teach, and on down the line. So they have all those verticals in their head as far as, okay, I really understand fully what goes into that plan and what I need to watch out for. So I think it's something else that, it doesn't have to be you're looking for the next big job. It could be you're with the organization now, you just want to be recognized a little more and advance your career that way too. So there's multiple possibilities of growing your career within this program.
What kind of skills will students gain doing this cohort?
I think the biggest part of this would be leadership development. I can say that with the IMC program, and whether it's the executive cohort or whether it's the other IMC program, for all students, leadership is a huge component of this. But we also know that the goals of the executive cohort is going to be different than those of, say, other new IMC students who don't have that experience. The education and the quality of content is going to be there. But how that leadership is developed really relies on where you're at within your career and how you, what goals you have for immediate future. As Rick shared within, the survey of alumni and seeing that salary increase, well, part of what is behind that is that there is a responsibility increase to justify that salary. When you graduate from this program, as I did with myself, there's an expectation. You have a master's of science in marketing communications from a really well-known prestigious university. And that expectation means that you have an education to draw from as a leader. So that when you go to conferences, when you go to meetings, when you say this, you don't need to say that, you have a master's and you know what you're talking about. You're going to come with that knowledge to speak in a way that executives expect. And it's hard to gain that if nobody gives you the shot. And one way to help with that really is to get a program as great as this one, as Bob was talking about, to hear from other executives, people who have been in those seats before, and translate that into that next meeting you're taking, into the next presentation, into that next pitch that you have with other executives if you're in a B2B company. I think that for me is one of the strongest aspects of this program overall, and I only see that being stronger with the executive cohort.
Knowledge is power. And I think that what you'll get from this program is that knowledge. and the ability to use that knowledge in a practical way in your day-to-day basis, your day-to-day work. And the other thing I think is going to be unique is I'm going to go back to the discussions because I love the discussions. It's my favorite part of the class is in this class, because you have some knowledge that you bring into the class, you will also be doing some teaching. And, you know, good leaders are good teachers, and good leaders are servant leaders who bring their people up. And they do that with the knowledge that they have, their ability to teach, their ability to lead, and to help people learn. When I was at Procter & Gamble, a good part of my performance rating, my performance review, was how I served my people, and I was rated based on the performance of my people. So I think that the leadership skills that Josh was talking about comes from the ability to teach, the ability to help people learn, and the knowledge that you're going to get. It's going to be a broad base of knowledge that you're going to be exposed to based on the people who are going to be in the program with you. I think that's a great opportunity, and frankly, it's a lot of fun for me. It is.
I think probably the students that are going to be in this cohort will really have a fundamental background in marketing and communications, and what they're going to be able to do is take a situation, a project, a campaign, if you will, from their current, employer. If they're working for a particular brand, a service, a nonprofit, whatever it might be, and then really apply it to this course, and be able to really fine tune some of the projects that they're working on, maybe ask for help, maybe it's a challenge, and they take it to the rest of the students, their fellow students, the professor, and say, I'm dealing with this with my company. Any suggestions? How might we deal with it on the discussion board, for example? But I think one of the big selling points and one of the skills that they're going to be able to excel in is the fact of bringing, as we say in the program, learn it today, apply it tomorrow. And I think that's really going to be true with this cohort.
Yeah, and I agree. I think really what Bill is really saying, and I agree 100%, it's leadership development. It's really about, you are going to be the marketing person for an organization, or at least position yourself as such, with your comprehensive background, with your master's in this. And that's kind of what we're tailoring it to. I mean, this is about the executives, the leaders. This is your seat at the table to be the marketing person within an organization. And, I think it's worth noting to say, when you do any type of job search nowadays, you go to LinkedIn Jobs, or you go to Indeed, or whatever the search engine is, look up the VP of marketing roles or the executive VP of marketing roles, and you'll find that most times now that a master's degree in at least something is either required or preferred. I'm seeing more and more required. Sometimes I'm just seeing preferred, but they really want your marketing leaders to have a master's of science in something. It used to be MBA. I saw that it was really popular about 10 years ago. Now it's shifting. Now I'm just seeing more master's degree, because programs such as WVU's IMC program have really started to increase in popularity, and they see the value of, okay, an MBA and a master's of science in IMC, similar in a sense, but the IMC person over here has a lot more comprehensive knowledge with revenue generation, brand management, the type of things you need to have in the marketing world, opposed to the MBA side, which maybe is a little more general business. So it's a little more specialized. So if this is really what you're thinking about doing, I mean, if you really want that seat at that leadership table, if you want to be the marketing person, that's kind of how we've designed the program.
And if I could add to that, Chad mentioned the network of marketing communication professionals that we've developed who have graduated with their master's degree over the 20-year period, and they're scattered all over the country. And I know, for example, myself, I have a I have a team of about 10 or 11 folks that work for me, and 2 of them have their IMC degrees from WVU. I have a third that's working on their IMC degree. And I know that there are folks all across the country that have graduated from this program that are in hiring roles, that they hire marketing folks. And in talking with many of them over the years, they will put the person who has the WVU IMC master's degree at the top. They will give them preferential treatment in terms of getting an interview. So I think that says a lot in terms of the network and what people are looking for. And as Chris mentioned, the master's degree almost has become, in some respects, the bachelor's degree of the past when it comes to people looking for education and the practical aspects of this degree program.
All right, and I've got one more for you, which I believe both of you noted you were working when you did the program. So how are the courses designed for the working professional?
Bob, you want to take this one first?
Sure. Well, what I like about the program is the variety of courses that we offer, the elective courses that we offer. Obviously, the core courses, the capstone course, the introductory course are extremely important, but you can design your program, to fit what you need. So there's as you saw in the slide presentation, that the courses that we offer are really extensive, and I think that's going to be a great help to people, because there may be certain areas in your business and your brand that you're working on, and the electives will allow you to focus on an individual subject matter that may be pertinent to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis.
I guess I can add something. Sorry, lost my voice a little bit for coughing. So when I did the program, I was working working full-time. I had a small restaurant that I was investing in. I was volunteering a lot. I was also expecting our second child. So it was a very much of a kind of crazy household that happened that period. I was able to do all of that while doing the graduate program and finishing up, because it's flexible for my schedule. I got a lot less sleep during that time period, but I was able to balance all of that because I knew this was a priority and it did help me in my career.
I'll go ahead and take the first crack at that.
Sure.
And again, I will speak from personal experience. When I was in the program as a student, and it's been a while ago, but I think it still is appropriate and has not changed. I was leading a very busy work life. I was raising 2 small children at the time. But I found that I could balance it all because of the online aspect. Had I had to go to a classroom at certain times of the week, and it met at a particular time, it just would not have worked for me. So I think the flexibility is just a real selling point. You'll be able to figure out after a week or two how your schedule is going to work. And as Chad mentioned, every class in the program is going to have the same deadlines. So once you kind of get familiar with 610 and you're moving on, you'll know that those deadlines are going to remain the same for the next class. And so it's just kind of figuring out what works for you. I know for me, Saturday mornings were my time to really do my writing assignment. Maybe late at night might work for some of you. Early morning, it just really depends on your particular schedule. But that's the beauty of it, is you can just mold it around your particular work schedule, your lifestyle, that type of thing. And I think that's a real big selling point.
Yeah, I think what really jumps out to me, Bill, what you said as far as convenience, but I would even say efficiency as well, kind of how we've designed this program, because I like you, when I started graduate school, I actually started the traditional sense. I was working a full day, stopping at a drive-through window, and then trying to get to class on time. So you spend another 3 hours, listening for a lecture, and I probably got half of what the professor was saying at the time. I was just, my brain was toast at that time. And that was a grind. And I knew there had to be a better way. So that's how my graduate studies started. And like you, I mean, young families, and you're busy and you're just trying to make a life. And I know when we looked at this program, the IMC program, even traditionally back when you started, Bill, it was more about, okay, we don't need to have the live lectures. Let's kind of set this up. They need the information. A student needs to get the information, be able to read it, understand it, and be able to show they apply it and understand. And then you can feed off your classmates and your professors, and you get it that way, opposed to just listening for 3.5 hours on a Wednesday night. That just doesn't seem to work for anybody anymore. So I think that's a much more efficient way to not only get the information, but it works within our work-life balance much easier. And much to what you said, and Chad kind of introed in the PowerPoint, I mean, you do get on a schedule. Yeah, I mean, I know I did, I think you did, Bill, we talked about it, kind of get on a schedule, and you get in a groove, and that's what your life becomes. And it's doable, it's manageable. I didn't really stress out too much when I went through the program once I had the schedule down, because I was also interested in the information, liked what I was learning. I liked the feedback that I heard from other people. It's like, oh, I didn't think of that. That's a very good point. So you still have the interaction of others. You're not in isolation, but it's a very effective way to learn what you need to learn to get you at that endpoint.
Mention, the technology has really advanced from back when I was a student in this program. So the term online learning really has really changed over the years. Obviously with the pandemic, Zoom meetings have become really just second nature anymore. So I know I try to bring some technology into the classroom. So it's just not, as Chris said, it's not distant. It's you still can develop relationships with folks. We do some, virtual learning like this in Zoom settings where you're seeing people's faces, and I think that's an important part of how the technology has advanced. We've tried to keep up with that with online learning at WVU.
Mm-hmm. And I would just encourage prospective students to shop around, look at other options. I've seen it seems to be an enormous amount of CMO programs at very prestigious universities that you can join now, the chief marketing officer, executive education and whatnot. The only downside I see with those is it's not a master's degree. I think that the course content, from what I can tell, is very good. But again, take a look at those job posts, and if really kind of see the endpoint where you want to get to in your career, I would look now before making this decision, and to see, as you see, the master's most times is required. And a master's of science in the field, I think, is really preferred when you start. If they would look at your resume versus a few others, that would put you, in my opinion, well beyond where you're going to see some others who maybe you've got a certificate or maybe just a bachelor's, maybe in marketing. They're really looking for someone that has mastered this vertical, mastered this industry from a marketing communications perspective. And we've tried to design our program in that way. So just keep that in mind when you look out. There are other options out there. But I would, if you really want that marketing share, I think you'd be hard to find a better option than our own program.